Just see. Aha, we are now live. Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to the show. And of course, you will see I have the wonderful Dr. Lena Rodriguez here, looking
coming to you live and direct.
Live and direct from Australia, from the future, of course. And
yes, it's one of my many skills.
Indeed. And are you wearing jade, a sort of a jade green top? I can see.
Yeah, it's a bit St. Patrick's Day, isn't it? Really, but never mind.
I say. I was almost thinking, is it? I was like, no,
no, nowhere near it. But it's that sort of Kelly green. Brings out the Irish in me.
Oh, of course. And do you have Irish heritage as well?
All four grandparents are Irish.
Right.
Say no more.
Wow. You know, yeah. I really do love Ireland, though. The Emerald Isle, and it's about time that I went back. Actually, I've got some friends, a couple of friends that live there.
True.
And it's an amazing place. So great to be back with Lena. It's been a little while since our last collab, and we always have a lot of fun. So just to let you guys know the questions that we will be covering today. And as you know, we like to have a little bit of internationalism, and then I'll say hellos for whoever is joining us today. So we're going to be starting out. We're going to be looking at Mo Brooks, that guy, Mo Brooks. We are then going to be looking at COP26. Now, I've addressed this a little bit in my show, but this is very important. So for anyone that doesn't know, it's that big global climate conference happening in Glasgow very soon in November. And then we'll be looking at the UK youth post-Brexit, which I think is a really interesting one. And then looking at musicians and Brexit, because as many of you will know, it's caused so much problems for orchestras, musicians, etc. And I can give a little insight on that as well when I, in one of my main jobs where I was working at a big cultural venue called King's Place, we were debating all of this kind of stuff. So I got a little tidbit there. And then we're going to look at Prince Andrew, seeing how he's going, and then we're going to end up, so stay to the end, guys, for the January 6th commission. We're going to be looking into that. So as I reach over for my tarot cards, so have you been to Ireland before then, Lena? Because I mean, it is a long ways away for you, isn't it?
It's a long way, and I have to say, see, don't forget I lived in the UK for 8 years.
Yeah.
And I think it was maybe my 21st birthday or my 20th or something. We thought it was a good idea to go on a pub crawl from London to Dublin.
Oh, no.
We drank all the way across England, all the way across Wales, on the ferry. These are the things you can do at 20. Now I would have been dead 3 hours into it, but you know.
Do you know what really makes me laugh? I'm sure you've got them in Australia. Maybe you have, but they're certainly here in the UK, and you see them a lot in Europe. And it's those pedal wagons. Have you seen? And it's like 6 or 8 people pedaling down the street. But there's a little mini bar in the middle, like pumping beer and stuff like that. And I mean, I don't know how it works when they must need the loo or something like that. Maybe there's
I've seen pictures of them, but when I was there, we're talking the 70s, there was nothing like that. There was still sawdust on the floors of a lot of pubs. You know, it was before the Celtic Tiger. Okay, it was before everything.
Wow! Oh my God!
What was weird for me, and it might be like this maybe for you if you went to the Caribbean or something. In Ireland, for me, I kept seeing my aunties or cousins. You know, the faces were recognizable to me constantly. It was a real buzz.
Indeed, I can well imagine. And I'm just going to do a few shout outs for who has joined us here. So we've got Azealia, we've got Sharon Saipe. Wow, that'll be an early one for you. Thanks so much for joining us. Linda Reeves. Let's see who else we've got here. And let's kind of scroll down. Oh, there's a lot of debate here. Sharon Donnelly as well. What I love about this community, when they get on and then they have a good old chat with each other as well.
Yes.
The show's almost irrelevant.
It's an awkward time for us and the viewers.
Absolutely, because it's small hours of the morning. But let's begin. And so let's look at this guy, Mo Brooks. So just to give us a little refresher, this is the loudmouth that stood up on the day of the January 6th and was like, what is it? Bring 'em hell and blah, 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 whatever it was.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
he was at that weird rally just prior to it going, you know, we mean business and bring it on, and, you know.
Exactly, while wearing a bulletproof vest. So clearly wasn't feeling very safe and wasn't really trusting the crowd. And these guys, it reminds me of in the old days, you know, where it used to be you would have a person in their castle that some baron wanted to get rid of, and what they would do is they would rile up the locals with the pitchforks and the flames, you know, by saying Count Dracula lives over there.
That's right.
And but at the same time, really kind of fearing and actually hating the rabble, so to speak.
What if the rabble turned?
Oh, absolutely, because they really don't respect those people.
No, and you can only keep the masses in line by being very clever and manipulative and or very cruel.
Indeed.
Terrify them into submission. But it's dressed up to look more attractive than that. But it's the same principle.
It's exactly the same principle. Definitely. A lot of these guys that, you know, these people, they're very, they're very entitled, live very comfortable lives, and really just see these people as pawns. So Mo Brooks,
and no respect for those who struggle. It's like winners and losers in their world. It's
absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay, Mo Brooks, what has he got to say for himself here? Oh,
Mo Brooks, what's going on with you? At least there seems to be. I mean, obviously, we're going to read on the Jan 6 commission at the end, but at least they're showing a few more teeth, so to speak. At least at some demonstration of intent, which is quite refreshing.
Well, he has not got good cards, Hogarth.
What do you have? What do you have?
From where I'm sitting. Well, leading off with his hidden agendas that weren't so hidden, right? But because this has turned up as the main card, I think he was playing like a double game or even a triple game. He was thinking, this is going to work for me down the track, so I'm going to support this when I suspect, doesn't even like Trump.
No.
I didn't realize till this thing, I thought, oh, he was a Trump man. And my vibe is no. He thought he was using Trump, and he thought he was using Trump people. And now it's backthrown because he was a mercenary who could be bought and sold, you know, right? It's not looking pretty. So this is the card of revenge and impulsiveness we have here with this knight. Not the most balanced of creatures, the Knight of Swords. Right? And then the Tower. So I think he's overreached. And what is inevitable with these sort of inquiries, while they're trying to get to the big fish, he's left a big enough footprint that I think it's actually going to go really badly for Mo.
Yeah, seems like it's going to go a bit pear-shaped, and a lot of these guys, you know, there's so much hubris as well. They just seem like this complete lack of reality, and when you look at these people, you realize they've very rarely been held accountable for their whole lives. It becomes this paradigm thing. They're almost confused that they're in trouble. And it's like, you've led a rabble, a mob to overthrow democracy, and you're wondering why you're being pursued, you know.
Yes, I agree. They really don't see why they're in trouble. They actually don't get it. What did you get?
Astonishing. So what I got here for the first card to symbolize this, There we are, the money changing hands, corrupt money, basically.
Yeah.
There we are. And a lot of this as well, but this is, as we know, when it's the right way up, this is the card of charity. But this also says to me as well, what part of these people that helped organize this insurrection, how they kind of sold it to the base. You know, almost like this will be a redistribution of wealth. You're going to be overthrowing the tyrant. Yeah. Yes. Count Dracula will die. We're going to throw sunshine in his face. And guess what? If you join us, you're going to get all these coins, because, you know, that is also part of it as well. It was in terms of, this was sold, very heavily marketed to these people as this great overthrow and redistribution. And you know, the ordinary working American was going to find their pockets filled with gold. And of course, it was just rubbish. It's all about money dealing and basically power. So if we look here, the next card that comes up as the obstacle,
also in reverse.
Also reverse. So many reverse cards. Now, if this card is the right way up, this is about a very passionate woman who is the life and soul of the party, intelligent and an overseer. And also as well has great intuition. There's the black cat. So this does make me think a little bit of Nancy Pelosi. But of course, it's come in the reverse. So this is actually a real obstacle to, of course, Mo Brooks. So we can see this now. This can also talk about his attitude as well, because when this card is reversed, it can have a very sabotaging quality to it. So if we look here with, you know, hey, everyone, your pockets are going to be filled with gold. And really, it was a sabotage. It's a sabotage.
Yes, how fascinating.
Oh, indeed. But now he's prospecting, yeah? He's a bit worried. He's like, looking for that ship to come in, but nothing's coming. Yeah? Nothing's coming. There's a blockage there. In regards to what? America. This can also be seen as the card of America. Sometimes Russia as well. Yeah. But it's come reverse. So really, this fecundity, this is normally about creativity, fecundity, fruitfulness. You know, the Empress is seen as artistic and pregnant. When it's this way, it's barren. Yeah, barren. This is scorched earth and poisoned wells. So for him, it's not looking great. And in regards to who is the one that is really at the seat of all of this,
yes.
Oh, Trumpety Trump, yeah, Duck L'Orange, there he is.
Duck L'Orange, sitting pretty.
Indeed, and it's just not, I don't think it's going to go well for him. I think there's a lot of people that are going to be done like kippers because of their associations with Trump. Even if Trump somehow we know that this guy deserves to be in jail. It's just ridiculous. So always had a donation that from him. But as we know, America has a very poor history, unfortunately, when it comes to punishing wealthy white men. Let's just be honest, that is a massive part of it. But I think they're going to do a very good job of getting everyone around, and it's going to be a disincentive enough where they're tainted by association. So that's something that I see happening. And Azealia, thank you so much as well for your donation. So there we are. Anything to add to that, Lena, with your reservoirs of wisdom?
So what is our next question?
All right, our next question. So there we are. That's Mo Brooks. So I put a line through that. Now, question number 2 is COP26. COP26. So this is happening in Glasgow I think it's next week. I think it's actually happening next week.
It's really important because it's a global thing of the top countries allegedly talking seriously about climate change. I just saw in the last couple of days the Queen's not going to attend. I've got no idea why she would be attending. What is that about? I mean, not attending?
Well, you know, we like to wheel out the royals. Yeah, go on.
Our glorious Prime Minister, Scotty from marketing.
Oh, yeah.
Who is out there. He hates any mention of climate change. He's an active climate denier. He's a fossil fuels man to the back teeth. He's going to have to be sedated to get on the plane to go. He so does not want to go. They're going to have to use elephant tranquilizers. And then he's going to sulk and punce and carry on. So, but I want to have a look. Yeah, will anything come out of COP26? Or will it be a talk fest?
Oh, indeed. And that's one thing that I was thinking about as well. And also as well here in not that I want to defend Boris Johnson too much, but if there has been one consistent theme in his rather scurrilous and costume changing career, let's put it that way. One thing that has been a theme is that he has been an advocate for the environment. Now, he's chopped and flicked and changed on various different kind of things. But on this one, I think he means it. And one thing that is quite encouraging, we'll have to see what actually happens. But recently, Saudi Arabia committed to actually changing up the whole thing with oil and diversifying their economy and being less reliant on fossil fuels. And that's extraordinary. That just came in a couple of days ago. So we will see. All right, COP26. And my card that dropped out is actually quite promising. Shows that there's a bit of oomph.
I'm very pleased.
Could be change here. So while you're shuffling, Lena, I'll just do a few more shout outs. And thank you as well to Christopher for your donation. So we've got Debbie Riggs, Sharon Donnelly, we've got Jean. Who else do we have as well? We've got Linda Reeves and B. Smith are also here with us, and many more.
Thank you for joining us.
COP26.
So will the Global Climate Summit come up with anything meaningful?
Will it come up with something? Does that Knight of Wands, will that Knight of Wands achieve something? COP26. Because they're saying really, and I, the pundits mean it and the people organizing the conference mean it. This really is the last chance saloon. It really is. They've got to get something meaningful out of this COP26. It's just too important. We've seen, just look at the weather this year, the relentless, remorseless fires that were in California, extraordinary temperatures to the extent in Canada that a town spontaneously combusted. I mean, that's not even a joke. That really happened. You would have seen Diane mention on her channel how hot New England has been, at times with higher humidity than Cambodia. We've had the floods in Europe.
And you
Turkey.
You don't think of Boston, Massachusetts for heat. This is crazy stuff.
Oh, this is very interesting. What cards do you have?
Well, they were so dreadful that I had to keep going because I thought, no. Look, everyone would just jump in the bath and slit their wrists if it stopped there. There had to be more to this story. And indeed, there is. So, in fact, these very negative cards that I'm going to outline here at the beginning are outlining the seriousness of the issue. Okay, so we start with the devil. Moving very quickly. We are running out of time. People are disappointed with what's been done to date because it's patently inadequate. It's just inadequate. I digress for a moment.
We love your digressions.
We in Australia are a commodity-driven country. We dig holes in the ground and export filthy fossil fuels, right? That's what we do best. Lots and lots and lots of it. But at least 15 years ago, the big fossil fuel giants in Australia all went to the government and said, look, it's time to move on with climate change and everything else. We want to get on the ground floor with renewables so they could slide from being filthy fossils into join,
Really? They had that vision back then? Wow.
They had it 15, 18 years ago. They thought the writing was on the wall, only to hit one government after the other saying what issue. This is what people forget. These guys just want to make money, right? They just want to make money. And they thought all the momentum was there, and no government has followed it up because they only think 3 years ahead. And to make a difference, we have to think 20 years, 30 years, 50 years ahead. And the way politics is structured everywhere, you're in these short cycles. And that's how we've ended up in this scenario.
Wow.
Right? And people are not impressed. Okay. So at that point I went, oh. But here's the thing, just talking about the conference now, I think some magic will happen. And I think in the back rooms. And from that, a new leader will emerge, and God knows we all need one. So it's like we need someone as big as Bezos or Richard Branson in his heyday, or Amazon. We need a giant of industry to come forward to actually lead the corporate world to the table and beyond.
Right. Yeah, definitely. We need something like that. An icon of industry, as it were, that could really, because it needs to be multi-pronged. I was really surprised at Saudi Arabia, and as we know, Lena is no monarchist. Yeah.
Let's be clear about that, shall we?
However, they do have their uses, and one of the things is that Prince Charles was actually quite instrumental in getting Saudi Arabia to change their position. Now, as you know, they've long associations, but you know, particularly when it comes to Middle East, royals talking to royals still actually holds some kind of currency. So I did find it extraordinary when we consider that, you know, for the last 30, 40 years, the whole of Saudi Arabia's wealth has been made completely on fossil fuels. So for them to say they want to change things up by a certain date, even though it's still not enough, but the fact that they're even prepared to commit to something on which their whole foundation is built, that really does.
It's massive.
Yes,
and it's important. I think someone's worked out that you can't drink oil and you can't bathe in it. And you actually need water.
Yeah.
And I think
need food and
that
crops.
Realization meets they should be the leaders of solar power instead of oil.
Absolutely. Where they've got the sun, which basically beats down every day. And I think we'll see as well in Saudi Arabia. I look forward to the days in sunny countries where these towers of glass and steel are actually covered in a sort of translucent solar. I'm sure
membrane,
like a membrane, and it just generates electricity. That's it. Just generates electricity. Yeah. And you're all good. So in regards to COP26, the cards that I got, here we are. This is talking about men of industry. Here we are, big business. This is what it's all about, big business, making these changes. But remember, the card that fell out for me was this. So there is going to be some momentum, some effort here. And like for yourself, look what I get as the obstacle. I get the devil, yeah, but reversed. So when
we've got the devil covered.
Exactly, the devil's covered. So there we are. So, and here it is in the obstacle position, of course. So really, when the devil is reversed, this can actually deal with really serious mental conditions and stuff like that. Heavy addiction. So this is talking about, countries' economies that are addicted, chained somewhat to this dirty fuel and all of that kind of stuff. And it's also dealing as well with some of the sociopaths that are actually in charge of industry. Yeah, because this is also a card of psychopathy as well when it's reversed. So you basically have these people that are hell bent on profits, quite literally. Here it is, and they don't want to give up. However, Lena, look what cometh next. Temperance.
Bless the angel of grace and mercy.
Look at that. So this means
that is
actually
bliss.
the consensus will be is that we need to arrive at a balance. So I think the penny has dropped because after all, Saudi Arabia has got involved. That's a big industry here. So here we see some temperance because they recognize that the earth is becoming what? Barren.
Yes.
This very much the Empress is also about nature, her fecundity, unspoiled.
Absolutely.
Yeah, this is the threat, the opposite of that. Also, as well, have you heard too that China is also stopping or reducing its exports of fertilizers, nitrogen. So that's actually pushing fertilizers through the roof. As you probably may know already as well, shipping, at least from like the UK perspective, if you used a shipping container, it would cost you about £2,000 before. It's now running around about £16,000.
That much difference.
Huge. Also, as well, there's things going on in the United States as well, where the hacking has still continued, but they're also hacking critical infrastructure as well, like farmers and water production, and cleaning and all of that kind of stuff. And for my outcome card here, we've got the Pentacles in reverse. Now, we know Pentacles is big money, but if we think of it in this way, if the earth is fruitful,
the end of the party for
end
business.
Of the money.
If they don't change.
It's
no longer like a moral issue or a fringe issue or a hippie wannabe issue. It's really basic. Sorry, I thought I'd turn my phone off.
It's basic economics. It's basic
economics now. And the other thing I predict is once some of the big ones get on board, it's then a race. Who can be the most green, the most quickly? I think we're going to see a rapid turnaround.
Absolutely. Because it's going to be like you said, once because the thing is, unless you are in certain parts of the world where, or shall we say, let's say GOP, where you still got these, the vast majority of these deniers, so you can really, the devil reversed is pretty much referring to them, because as big a polluter as China is, the penny has dropped. They're also it's still too much, but they've begun their greening of their economy and all that. Because I mean, look, how many times does the Yangtze River need to flood? How many citizens do you need to have to die from smog and all that stuff? They do get it as well. Really, the real stalwarts, the people that are holding out, are in places like you said, industry in Australia, and the USA are big ones. And of course, there's a few Luddites around, but most people get it now, and they realize if there's one thing. And I've said on my channel, I said greed should be reclassified as a form of psychosis.
Terrorism. I think greed is a form of economic terrorism.
Yeah. And what will happen is when the greedy people work out, oh my gosh, if we don't change, we won't have any money. There you are. You get this race, this sprint to be next in, and eventually, hopefully 30 years from now, we'll be talking about going, oh my goodness, the Thames has frozen again. I would hope. Okay, so shall we move on to the next question?
Well, we have to, yes.
All right, so the next one will be the UK youth post-Brexit, and I thought this was fascinating.
Because I've been harping on for a while that if America is to be saved, it's in the hands of the youth. They need to stay engaged, register to vote, and they can change it, because they hopefully are really sick of the insecurity of the gig economy and everything else, which takes us to our next question as well. And they're going to look at this because this is the first generation everywhere where the kids aren't doing as well as their parents.
Yeah.
It used to be the parents could just work really hard, give it the best shot, and their kids would do a little bit better and a little bit better. And now, no. So UK youth, let's have a look.
Yeah. That social contract is well and truly broken. And I've been reading some very interesting articles as well about what's going on with the youth in the UK.
Or the youth.
Yeah, the youth. This is interesting.
Oh.
What do you have? I've got quite a mixed bag here.
Well, I'm quite pleased.
Oh, that's good.
That is very good, I think. Okay, at the center, what do we have? We have they're feeling ripped off.
Yeah.
You know, their parents bought the whole neoliberal idea of trickle-down economics and, you know, it'll all be great and you've got to worship big business because they're the employers and they bought that. And their kids are never going to have more than a 3-month, 1-year contract ever.
Yeah.
And you can't go to the bank and buy a house with a 3-month contract. No.
True. Yeah.
And they can't afford to rent. No. So they're feeling ripped off. They're part of globalized youth culture. And then wherever they live, they're looking at what's happening locally and going, this is what I'm feeling, right? And they're sick of waiting. They're not going to wait around. So they're going to want to get a contract, a big, as you say, social contract. Thanks for using my language as a sociologist. You're a natural sociologist, Hogarth. Bless. They want a contract with business. So this is like UK Uber drivers, for example, just got some sort of deal. Because let's just talk about Uber for 1 second. We're going to run out of time if we don't move on. But, okay, let's look at Uber. You have to supply the car. You have to supply the insurance. And you have to give them money. Okay. So why are you there? It's because they can attract the rides en masse, right? And they just take the money. And if you are sick, you don't earn any money and anything about anything. Right. So I love the service. I'm an Uber girl, but I hate the model. Because they're taking all the risk. It's the wear and tear on their car, or they're in debt for the car in the first place so they could be an Uber driver, blah, blah.
Wow.
Now, it's bad, really bad, right? However, UK just won a deal where they get paid from the moment the phone call comes in instead of when they pick up the person. It's a little thing. Also, if they work for 2 years or something for Uber, they get a week's paid leave or some pittance, but compared with what's there now, it's an improvement. In the US, Uber drivers didn't get it.
Wow.
So I'm using that example. I think they're going to expect more from business than they have been. They've just been delivering their souls from the age of 13 or 14, working at Subway and then just grinding it out and never leaving home and blah, blah, blah. And they're going, you know what? We want a dream too.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, they want a future, and also as well, what's happening in the UK? Because I will say one of these. I think you'll like this little digression. One of the most extraordinary things that has happened as a result of COVID in the UK is that it has turned the Tory party into a quasi socialist party.
I'm loving it.
It is extraordinary. And what has happened, I've seen, because I often watch the parliamentary debates and stuff like that, where I've seen it gradually, this pentacle took a while to drop. But the Tories have realized, wow, when we actually try and do nice things for people, we actually are quite popular. And what's happened is now, of course, they've not got this entirely right. There's been huge mistakes. This whole NHS app and everything is grossly overpriced. And now they're talking as well about the eye-watering cost to maintain, track and trace. You know, there's tons of boo-boos and butterfingers everywhere. But before, the Tories used to believe that if they did any kind of social kind of justice or anything like that, and what have you, that it would be the collapse of them. And now, believe it or not, they are actually saying to business, now it's slight brinkmanship, but they're now saying to people, you know, in regards to we don't have enough drivers and all that stuff because of Brexit and other global factors. But now they're actually saying, you know what, pay your staff more. They're saying to, believe it or not, the Tories are saying pay your staff more, and they've just increasing the minimum wage. Now there's other kind of stuff.
Yes, but it's symbolic. It's a movement symbolically. And we in sociology and modern monetary theorists and stuff too have been talking about universal basic income for 25 years, which was laughed out of every institution. What do you mean give people money, or at least a basic income? Now, because of COVID, most countries in the world had to do it, and there were conservative governments in everywhere, right? In Australia and everything, and they had to do it because, you know, you can't have people falling over and starving outside your office. It's a bad look. So they did it, and it's an accidental experiment in universal basic income. So the other thing they've worked out is if you keep wages depressed, everything that people only have this much money and they struggle, you give them a bit of money. What do? Oh, love, they spend it.
Yeah, they spend it.
They spend it in the economy.
Yeah.
And that's what's kept every country afloat is the money that was given, the sacred cow that was destroyed. They gave people money for staying at home. And the economy's done fine.
Yeah, and the sky hasn't fallen down.
No,
and if anything,
which is what we said, because we did the modelling back in the day. It's counterintuitive. I understand that. It doesn't make sense when you first say it, right? People think, what? But by keeping people poor, it keeps the whole society poor. And then every service is dragged down because they're so overworked. Keep it all moving.
Yeah, keep it all moving. It's like water. It's very much like water. And in regards to the youth, the cards that I've got. So here we are. So it's the right way up. This is about what? Prospecting, isn't it? Prospecting one's future with an international look. The man is looking out to the ocean and looking at these ships coming in. Maybe he's a merchant who's waiting for his spices to return and to make his fortune of cinnamon and pepper and all that kind of stuff. But it's turned up in the reverse position here. So really, just like what we were saying, it shows that the youth feel like that they can't grasp and prospect in terms of the world. They don't feel like they have the same opportunities that their parents did.
They don't, unless
they don't.
They don't.
They don't. They have the ambition, but where are those opportunities? So the obstacle, if we look here, is the star reversed. So, of course, when the star is the white way up, this is about, you know, renewal, optimism. It comes after the Tower card. You know, we're feeling we have faith in the universe and that the universe has got our back. But really, look, they're feeling dejected. Pessimistic.
And they are. Oh, Mass, you can feel it. If you're hanging out with young people, their vision's often very restricted. Young people should feel they can rule the world.
Absolutely. And this card really, in regards to the youth, should be that way. It really should be that way, but it's this way.
Yeah.
And looky here, I get the same card that turns up as well. Hangman. Yeah, Hangman in reverse. And this can also, I mean, as we understand with the Hangman, this is about a change of perspective, etc. But when it's reversed, it really can feel really like you're properly stuck.
Yeah.
Where
literally
you do
nailed to the floor.
Literally, you'll feel like you're nailed to the floor. You can see that different perspective, and you may not like that perspective that you've seen, and there's nothing, you don't feel like there's anything you can do about it. Because here, when it's this way, the right way up, he's put himself in that position, and he's like, okay, I've got a different perspective here, spiritual awakening. Here is like, oh my God, I'm nailed to the cross and I need to get off. How do I get off? However, there could be a victory coming up. Oh, look, we've just been joined by 200 people. I'm amazed at that. At this hour, you should be in bed. But we're glad you're here.
Insomniac's rule.
Exactly, insomniac's rule. So some people are definitely on the coffee tonight. So here we do see the victory card coming up in the future. So could it be that things like COP26, also as well, to add this as well, Lena, now it's not much, but this, like, hold on to the sofa, the Tories also increased the wages for youth and young people as well. Now, I think it was an extra 56 pence or something like that, you know, so halfway to a cup of tea, but it's yes. And the outcome card here I've got. Now, this is quite a bit of a bombastic. However, we know as well, when this card is reversed, the swords appear to be falling out. So when we combine it with this victory card that came before, this could suggest that it will take time, but this could lead to a bit of a healing. And this is definitely a reflection here. You know, people are looking at the betrayal, and they're reflecting on things, but also as well, what are you getting? What are you getting as well when you see this card reversed?
Can I just add something about the Ten of Swords? Can you just hold it right way up for a moment, please?
Yeah.
Thank you. People see the Ten of Swords and go, it's a confronting card. Yeah. But it's a 10, which in tarot means it's the culmination of a cycle. So one of the things I talk about with the 10 of Swords right way up is, you know what? No one can hurt you any more about that thing. They've done their worst. Right. And that's it. And then for you to get it reversed is it's like, I think it's both those things. You know, they've reached saturation. They've battered the youth so severely. They've deprived them of a decent education, deprived them of a dream. They've deprived them of the opportunity to rent or buy. And they can't do any more worse things to them. And now, the reverse, they're going to have to pull out those swords one by one.
One by one. Because here, like, and it does remind me, I'm sure you, of course, will know this. What happened, if we think now the Dark Ages, so like the 1400s, after the plague, the peasantry, their wages went up.
For the first time in human history.
Their wages went up because it was that whole supply and demand.
So many people died that for the first time, a labourer could actually say, I'm not going to work for you for tuppence a year. I can work for him for sixpence a year. But that represented an increase.
Progress.
And it's like, this is what the banning of migrant workers has done. It's done two things. One is it's made people aware of the jobs they've been doing for 50 years, right? Because they're not there. And two, if you want first world Anglos particularly to do it, you have to put the money up. Right?
Absolutely.
Hello. So this is happening everywhere because people don't want to pick beans in California for $3 a week any more than is happening in the UK in a whole host of ways.
Absolutely. And also as well, it's also highlighted too, you know, the dismal, you know, reality, particularly for UK HG drivers. You know, they just did some interviews and they're kind of like having to literally go to the toilet in plastic bags without being too explicit, and all of that stuff, that infrastructure that's been stripped out, you know, for showers.
It's shocking because I remember 3 years ago, if not 4, there was a great series of podcasts called Three Blokes in a Pub. What's going to happen with Brexit, right? Blah, 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 blah. Early on, at least 3 years ago, they interviewed a lorry driver and he said, there's going to be no lorry drivers. We already work these phenomenal hours. We have the worst facilities. People will not do it anymore. That's why they had to get so many other desperate migrant workers to do it. If you shunt them out, you know, you can't ask people to step into that. And that's exactly what's happened. They could have 4 years ago, they could have started training people, said, no, don't go there.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because it
And
was.
now your bus drivers, you've got a shortage of bus drivers because they've worked out instead of £10 an hour driving a bus with bad conditions, they can get £20 an hour driving a lorry with bad conditions. Which one will I do?
Absolutely. And in fact, the lorry driver pay has increased significantly. And what is remarkable is that so the haulage industry has gone to the UK, the Tory government to complain, going, look at this expense. We actually have to pay our people money. And the Tories have turned around and said, so what? Tough titties. Yeah, you just got to get on with it.
And how hard is it to put in truck stops? Because if you've got thousands of lorries a day through key points, it's a boom industry in itself.
It's a boom industry in of itself. Every kind of Wendy's and McDonald's and this, that, and the other, which is on the motorways and stuff, should have trucker driver facilities where they can shower.
I mean, some do. Some in Australia even have brothels that are very handy, but we won't go.
That's what I was going to say as well,
I'm sure only truckies, can use these facilities, and you go, okay.
Loyalty card, trucker loyalty card.
Very strange at midnight seeing these girls in bikinis, but look, it might be just me. But anyway, the point is, you should be able to get a hot meal, a shower, and on the road again. Somewhere safe, well lit, that they can sleep in their cabs. Even these guys aren't fussy, but just give them the basics.
Yeah. Give them the basics.
Towel, a couple of euros a towel. How hard is it?
Yeah, it's not, and the whole thing is there, and this will begin to kind of change that culture. Another thing as well about the whole thing, before we move on to the next question, what I find interesting though is that it shows that the infrastructure for this driverless system of lorries and stuff is not even close to being able to being implemented. This is going to take 5 or 6 years before we have the driverless thing, because it used to be, what was the case? Oh, that's it. We'll just outsource. You remember you had all these
look, privatize everything. Privatize everything. It's fabulous. Makes everything cheaper. Privatize electricity. When was the last time your power bill went down?
Indeed. Yeah, exactly.
Okay, we have to move on.
Indeed. So we did the UK youth. Let's look at musicians and Brexit. And then we've going to be on Prince Andrew and then Jan 6th Commission. So musicians.
Okay, we'll quickly dive into the music. We've almost handled it in a way with what we've been talking about. So we'll be quick. But for those who have just joined us, for UK musicians, for the last 40 years, that's 40 years, they've been able to, and not just musicians, it could be any sort of performers or DJs or MCs or any entertainment aspect, could move between Slovakia and Germany and France and Estonia and whatever, Greece, and and I knew a lot of musos who moved between the Greek islands and the Spain resorts and all of that stuff. And all of a sudden, there's all these hurdles to them doing what they've been doing all this time.
Indeed.
Let's have a look.
All right, so you're still having a shuffle, so I will.
You go.
I've pulled 3 cards this time. So look at this. I get the victory card again, but look, reverse this time. Just as you were saying, once upon a time, musicians could go wherever their will and gigs took them. Yeah. They would do residencies wherever, because
anywhere,
it didn't matter.
Same passport, no paperwork, just
no paperwork. They would just turn up. They'd be like, "I've got a gig here. I've got a gig in Berlin. I've got a gig in Slovenia or whatever," and they would just go. But now,
you get a phone call on Tuesday, can be there on Friday.
Absolutely. Whereas now this has completely changed. Now, just to give you guys a little bit of background, for years I used to work at this place called King's Place, which is in 90 York Way, and it's a huge cultural venue. It's also known as the headquarters of the Guardian, and it's opposite Central St. Martin's. Because, you know, I went to art school. I went to Camberwell College of Art. So I've known musicians and all that stuff for years. And we were talking, there were heated debates because we have orchestras in all the time, huge orchestras, chamber music, every opera, the whole shebang. So this is what was being discussed when the whole Brexit stuff was coming in, what would happen, and it's reversed. What's the obstacle as well? Look, bureaucracy, yeah, the whole legal kind of stuff. Always we know when it's the right way up. This is legal, but here, this is basically vicious bureaucracy that's really gotten in the way.
Vicious, pointless bureaucracy.
Absolutely, it's sliced away. And then when we look here as well, we see there is this element there as well of that sort of like enemy in the camp, so to speak. And again, it's just unnecessary legal requirements that have kind of gummed up the works for a lot of these artists. So there you are. I'll keep that quick. What do you have?
Okay, and I'll do a speed version too. On top, we have the Five of Wands. People are arguing about it. What happens now? How are we going to deal with this? Going round and round. Very unusual to get a pair, a king and a queen of the same suit when you only pull 4 cards, right? So, you know, so we've got the greedy king. Oh, sorry.
I know.
We've got the greedy king, but this, in this case, represents the money to be made by the entrepreneurs who are the ones who do make the big money. But they've got to deal with their, oh, Jesus, this camera, the queen or the balance of that. They can't make the money they used to make. It's them, as opposed to the musician or the artist or the sculptor or the violin player. It's the entrepreneurs who are going to make the argument, I think, and spread the money a bit further, and they will secure some sort of arrangement, which could look like waivers for visas for, you know, you sign on once a year maybe, or something. But they're going to come up with some sort of paperwork to make it happen, but they're not there yet. They're going to have to work this out, but that's what I think will happen. Maybe a year from now they'll have worked it out.
I would imagine 2022 and so, and it would make sense that at least a 6-month visa or something like that, minimum 6-month visa, and you go, look, bona fide musician here, I can prove that I've got this background. You know, maybe they pay, you know, £150 or something like that
a year or something,
you know, a year or what have you, and then they can move and do what they need to do. All right, so as time rapidly moves on, let's talk about Prince Andrew, which of course is a bit,
if we have to,
red meat for Lena here, you know. So let's see what's going on with him, particularly as well as Mama is, you know, she's getting on. She's 95. And
look, although she might live to 116, you've got to assume she's getting close to it.
Absolutely. And I think Mother's apron is no longer going to be able to protect. Do you know what I mean? I'm thinking that apron is becoming a little threadbare now, and there's a few holes in there. So he can't quite hide behind Mummy's skirts for much longer.
No.
Prince Andrew, what's going on with Prince?
What's going on for Prince
Have you seen, Lena, if you get a chance, Spitting Image is back. Do you remember Spitting Image?
Love Spitting Image.
So if you just put in Spitting Image in YouTube, and you should see some of the spoofs they've done on Prince Andrew. You will just
it'd be hilarious. I so will.
Oh, yeah. And Trump leaving the White House. You've got to see that one.
I've got to write that down.
Oh, yeah. You'll find it.
Oh, what gold. That's gold.
Oh, yeah. It's all back. It's all back. Prince Andrew. What's going on with Prince Andrew? Because I did a reading on my Saturday show on the Queen, and she is feeling it. She really is. And of course,
about him or about everything?
Well, just about everything. And what came up was Philip, because of course he's transitioned.
Yeah.
And as far as we know, that is the only man that she's ever known.
And that was a 70-year marriage.
Yeah. Very, very long time. And I think when you're together with someone for that long, it's this almost like the souls sort of like blend together. And she's obviously, you know, it's going to be feeling. I mean, really, she met him when she was 14, I think it was.
Yes, so, that's right. It was a Priscilla Presley scenario, really.
Oh, Priscilla. Oh, please enlighten me.
Oh, Priscilla and Elvis were married. They met when she was 14, and I think they were married 5 minutes later. I think they were married when she was 15 or something.
That's it, you're right.
But with Queen Elizabeth, they married a bit later. But, you know, he was her super spunk, you know, and regardless of what I think of the royals, you know, she loved her man.
Oh, yeah.
But here we go. We've got to move on with Andrew. So moving on, they're trying to move on from the Andrew scenario, but they can't. Because it keeps sort of coming back to haunt them in this way. We all know massive amounts of money were involved with the whole Epstein rigmarole, and this also, it's legacy stuff. There is no way they will give up. No way his mother, Queen of Cups, literally the mother.
Wow.
Right? There's no way they will give up a British royal to the American craziness of their legal system. They know he's lecherous. They know he's useless. They know he's thick as a brick. They know it all. They know the man. But there's no way they will turn him over. So she will, I think, which is what you were saying about the apron strings. As long as she's got breath in her body, she will protect him. However, how much longer, and how long are the Americans prepared to wait?
Absolutely. How much longer? Wow. Okay, so what I've got, I'm amazed that we've got over 200 people here. Honestly, I really am.
I'm thrilled because it's such an antisocial time.
I know it really is. But here we are. Look, this card comes back again.
It's your card du jour.
I know. So here we are. Prince Philip is prospecting. Yeah, look at this. Remember, there's an ocean here. This is him standing on the white cliffs of Dover, looking over the Atlantic to America and going, "Oh my God, Mummy, save me!" Yeah. However, look at the obstacle. Justice reversed. This is a harsh judgment. Yeah, this is when they throw the book at you. So you can see quite literally, this is what Prince Andrew is worried about. Something happening overseas in regards to legal matters and justice. But what is it about? Him, the false knight.
Or the false prince.
The false prince. Yeah, the false prince, quite literally. This is a man that has been self-indulgent. This is the one that leaves you kind of knocked up with buns in the oven and just kind of streaks off in the night. There it is. It's representing his behavior, that indulgence. But look here, when we see the next card, look, it's reversed. So we know that this is dealing with sorrows. Sometimes this can also mean a friend helping you out. But really, how many friends does he have now that a certain Epstein and other people are no more or far away? So he's feeling isolated. And then it could reach a point where the legal issues could actually, where he could, he's embattled. We know he's embattled and he's been holding on. But this suggests that his situation at some point could overwhelm him.
I think you've hit on something with this, because if he stays in England, right, there's no way they can deliver a subpoena to the Duke of York or whoever the hell he is. I can never remember which one's which, but it's not going to happen. If he's in the UK, it's not going to happen. But if he crosses the water with that Three of Wands, he could be holidaying in Spain or something, and suddenly,
yeah. And I'm sure that has crossed his mind. I'm sure that's crossed his mind, because really that Three of Wands is Prince Andrew standing there at the shores going, OMG.
Yeah, I don't think he can travel anywhere. I'd be very surprised if he travels internationally.
Indeed. So watch out, older Andrew. Don't be taking any kind of sneaky, naughty trips to Ibiza anytime soon to look at the young love. Yeah. Won't be happening. So look at that. The time has gone so quickly. Let's round up with January 6th commission. Will it succeed in its mission?
Will it succeed? Goodness
January 6th. Will it succeed in its
Oh,
mission? How the time has flown, Lena.
absolutely.
It's always this way, isn't it? It's always this way.
Absolutely. Yes, we wrap it on and then it flies. So this is our last one for the night.
Yeah. January 6th commission. Will it succeed in its mission? Will it
Shall I go?
Yeah, sure. Go for it.
Well, look, they're trying. They're really trying. They're setting out. They've got their sword raised. They mean business. Oh, look, you'd hope so, wouldn't you? Really?
Yeah, you would hope so. So tick that last.
So we take this at face value that that's what they're doing. Things are very unclear, more unclear than we realize. We thought things were getting clearer, but in fact, I think they're getting less clear with each passing week. And the reason for that is when they keep coming up against the big money and the donors who are probably saying, oh, look, let's just move on, just get a result, throw half a dozen of them to the wolves, let's just go back to business as usual. I think this is playing more of a role than I'd realised actually until this reading. I hadn't thought about the donors in relation to this question because it's supposed to be about the country and you know what I mean, like patriotism and all that. But the smug merchant plays a very big role in this, and the Dems have to be careful they're not criticised, ironically, for wasting money by doing this and expending too much political capital, if you like. But at the same time, they must persevere. So there's this tension between the energy of these cards, which is big money, and it all been covered up yet again. However, they will get there in the end. There's a radiance there. I think they'll get something significant. It might not be everything we want or everything that's right or just, but it'll be enough, hopefully, to carry them through the midterms. Please.
So what did I get? So if we look here about the Transex Commission, here we are. There we are. They're feeling a bit bound, feeling a bit strapped, but this is also a change of perspective as well. This is where this is them doing that nitty-gritty work, having to navigate the choppy waters, because when it's the right way up, it's very much this person, maybe this could be a prison of their own making, but this is really showing the environment in which they're dealing with. They're dealing with these very shifty, slippery characters, and this navigation is proving quite something, but they're trying. Look at this. What's the obstacle? I think the moon as well. So really, isn't it remarkable? So we see here, this is what they're dealing with. This is about unearthing all the dirt. Here we are. Look, we've got the GOP lobsters, just like finally coming out to breed by the moon, with the dogs and the howling wolves and everything like that. So they're really going to be digging down and unearthing these kind of primal secrets. However, again, there's so many choices to make behind the scenes. Yes. I think they really are debating, who do we expose? What ramifications will this have? So this isn't just about a gangbusters, let rip, let's blow them all up, because as your card suggests, Lena, big business is behind this. And this is also showing as well that the Democrats may be thinking twice about the people that support them as well. Yes. This is why we've not had this carpet bomb approach, because I think when I think about it, I'm thinking of mushroom picking. I feel like they're going into under the night of the moon and they are picking the mushrooms, but they're trying to pick the least poisonous. You know what I mean? Because there are clearly decisions that they have to make behind the scenes. Legal matters, of course. This is them officially sitting there wanting to appear fair and just in their judgments. But look at that. My outcome. We get a bit of a celebration. So we see, so there will be some kind of victory here. There will be something that people can celebrate as some kind of win. And considering that you got the 10 of Cups as your outcome as well, does it mean it will be absolutely everything? Probably not. And laws of probability with these donors are so powerful, but there are wins. So it does suggest there will be at least some success with that commission.
I take a bit of consolation in, you know, we're all champing at the bit now and we want to see it all yesterday and so on. However, as it dribbles on into next year, it's kind of good because people have short memories. So the filth and drama will be playing out right leading into the midterms. If it all was over now, people would have forgotten all about the inquiry by halfway through next year. Whereas now it'll be playing out in real time.
Absolutely, absolutely. And it will just remind everyone of just what's going on. We also, as well, as you would have heard, you know, about the Pluto return, which I've been talking about since 2019, by the way.
Yes.
And I've even got like blogs and stuff like that where uncannily, basically everything that I predicted has come true. So America is in the throes of great tectonic changes, real fun, but really for a lot of people, because people are like, when will this be over? And what I'm going to say is the labor pains are just beginning.
Yes, that's right.
Only 2 centimeters dilation.
Dilation. That's a great analogy.
There's a lot.
Absolutely. Because you think you want things to go back to normal, but that left it as the most unequal society on earth was what was normal. And this is not a Band-Aid job. So this has to be a complete upheaval to make a better society led by the Green New Deal.
Yeah, Green New Deal. And as I've said before in my videos before, I said if this deal is passed and they get all the green stuff in, then America in the future will become the wonder of the world. Because once the greedy get in on the green game, let's say green greed. There's a little snap.
Yes, green greed. That'll be their new motivator.
Absolutely. Once green greed gets stuck in, that's it. No stone will be left unturned.
That's right.
You know, they'll be competing for purity of water.
Yes,
do you know what I mean?
yes. There'll be a lot of rubbish in all that, but at the same time, the movement will be, I think, very rapid. Once it's like we're going through this global pendulum swing where all the way out to the right, you know, as far as you can take peak greed, peak capitalism, peak filth, and it has to go back.
It has to go back. It has to go back because, you know, they're investors at the end of the day. And, you know, like you said, you can't eat oil. There's no bread, if there's no vegetables, if there, you know, there's no insects left to pollinate things. What do you think? We're all going to go around with feather brushes, you know, pollinating peach trees? I don't think so. So, you know, all of that needs to change. As usual, the time has gone so quick, so I don't want us to be here for too long. So thank you everyone for joining us at this ungodly hour for many of you. And thank you as well, Lena, another great collab. Love talking. Of course, we'll have a little bit of a chin wag off camera as well. So much to discuss. Yeah, so much to discuss. And so thank you everyone for joining us, and we will let you know when we do our next collab. All right, cheers. Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye. Thanks for coming, guys.
Thanks for coming. Cheers.